Hello, it's me, Troubadour, and check it out. The Danger Pack is finally here. Let's go. I feel like I've been waiting forever for this, not only just for new pets, but for new balance changes, but I'm very excited to go over all of the new things for you guys in this update. But before I get into it, I want to announce I'm doing a Danger Pack giveaway, and I'm not giving away one, I'm not giving away two. I'm giving away 5 copies of the Danger Pack to 5 lucky winners in the comments. Or at least I was going to until community member Traxion reached out to me and he also wants to give away 5 Danger Packs of his own. So that's right, we're giving away 10 copies of the Danger Pack to lucky viewers of this channel. So yeah, if you're interested in joining the Danger Pack giveaway, you just gotta do a couple things. First, you have to be subscribed to the channel. Second, you need to comment below your in-game username and your favorite pet from the Danger Pack. That's all you need to do to enter the giveaway. Just be subscribed, comment below your favorite pet from the Danger Pack and your in-game name. And then in a video in 2 days time, I will spin a wheel 10 times. It'll probably take forever. And get 10 lucky winners for the Danger Pack. So if you're wanting to get a free copy of the Danger Pack, make sure you join the giveaway by commenting down below. And thank you again to Traxion for supporting the channel and wanting to give away packs as well. 10 giveaways is insane. So yeah. Now, I'm going to go over all of these new pets and all the balance changes. Now, if you've been following along on the official superautopets Discord, or maybe watching some videos from pre-release content from people like RevGT, Superauto Gaming, Granite Sap, you may already know all these pets and foods and stuff. So if you're interested in just seeing some gameplay, go ahead and skip to the timestamp listed here. Also, before I get into the pets, let me just say subscribe. A long time ago, like, I don't know, maybe at the beginning of the year, I set a subscriber goal for 1,500 subs, and I said when I reached it, I would do a live stream Q&A at my favorite ice cream place, Jenny's Ice Cream, at 1,500 subs, and I'm at like a little over 1,480. So hey, if you get me a few more subscribers, we can do that live stream Q&A. That would be super sweet. But anyway, let's get into the Danger Pack. So the Danger Pack is all themed around endangered species that aren't already in the game, you know, like axolotl or whatever. And in general, it's designed to be simpler mechanic-wise compared for like, you know, new players. You don't like crazy stuff like mana or trumpets or anything like that. There is some new archetypes and new types of abilities in this, and I'm very excited to go over it. So let's go over all these one by one, starting with the tier 1 pets. Also, I'm going to butcher a lot of these names. Not a game devlog. I'll put a link to his video in the description below. He put out a video talking about how to pronounce all these pets, and I watched it, but I don't remember it. So I'm going to butcher a lot of these. But let's start right here with the African wild dog. Start of battle, it'll set its attack to 3 and jump attack the first enemy. Now, jump attack is a new mechanic introduced in the Danger Pack. How it works is you basically attack out of order. It's not like a snipe, like say, you know, it sets its attack to 3 and jump attacks. It's as if it's like a 3-1 attacking another pet. So the other pet will damage the African wild dog in response. It's basically just taking your attack in, you know, out of order, just at the start of battle. If it survives, then it would, you know, still take its turn whenever it's later in the lineup, you know, but that's kind of how jump attack works. But it's pretty cool. I like how they made it set attack, because in the pre-release footage, they didn't have it set attack, and it seemed pretty good for tier 1. So yeah, I really like this pet. Super interesting idea. Next, we got the Bombus dalbamii, I think, because Latin and 2 eyes be EI. I don't know. It's a little bee, very cute. 2 enemies attack, deal 1 damage to the first enemy, works 2 times per turn. Really cool for summons or for jump attack things, because jump attacks count as, you know, enemy or friends attacking. I guess enemy attacks would count like people jump attack you. Ethiopian wolf, feint, remove 1 attack from the first enemy. So it's pretty cool. 2-3 stat line is a premium at tier 1 with a nice ability. I think this will be very nice just to throw into custom packs. And just in general, moving attacks helps you get, you know, more attacks than other pets. Speaking of getting more attacks, Fan Muscle, it's a 2-2, but it takes 1 less damage, works 2 times per turn. Really like this ability. Could be really fun to use with, you know, different things like Ethiopian wolf. Looks like a lot of fun. Illy Pika, friend transformed, give it +1 to its highest stat until next turn. So they turned it transform into a whole archetype in the Danger Pack. Lots of pets that will transform into other pets. Lots of pets that will affect pets that are transformed. So we'll be seeing a lot more of those as we go along. Speaking of transform, we got the Iriomote cat, I think. It's an island in Japan, so I think like Iriomote. Before battle, it'll transform into any level 1 pet from tier 1. So it won't be like transforming to amazing stuff. Maybe it could transform to something good, but it's a 2/2 stat line, so it's kind of balanced. And what's nice about it is it's a transform trigger at tier 1, so you can do with stuff like Illy Pika and things like that. Next, we have Melee Tapir. Adjacent friend attacked, gain +1 health. Notice that says adjacent, so that means pets in front of it, but also friends behind it. So say it has, an African wild dog behind it that jump attacks the enemy. Well, that counts as an adjacent friend, I'm pretty sure. We'll see when we test it, but that's pretty cool. Togium Babarusa. Feint, give one random enemy +1 attack, +1 health. So this is kind of like a Quetzalcoatlus at tier 1. It's got a really nice stat line. I mean, 4/3 at tier 1, it's almost as good as like a Nudibranch with its ability. But of course, it's basically an ant for the enemy. So unless you transform it using some pets, then it's not going to be very helpful besides that stat line. But hey, if you put it at the back and it doesn't faint, it can be really helpful against the enemy. Next, we have Tooth Build Pigeon. At sell, it'll stock 1 free C-Pal, 3/1, as C-Pal gives +1 health. It's basically the health version of the pigeon from the turtle pack. Pretty standard stuff. Volcano Snail, Feint, make 1 random perkless enemy toasty. Toasty, anyone attacks, take 1 damage once. Think of it as like, a tier 1 version of Crispy. It only takes 1 damage, but that can be pretty nice at tier 1. 1/4 stat line's not bad either. Arva Ripe Mannequin, I think it's how you say it. Friend jumped or transformed, so it's got a couple different ways you can synergize. Gain +2 health until next turn. Works 3 times per turn. With a 2/3 stat line with a good ability, this can synergize super well with a lot of pets. I think this will be very good in a lot of different builds. Very excited for this. I'll just say we're on to tier 2 now. Next up, Darwin's Fox, tier 2. Friend feints, jump attack the enemy that knocked the friend out. Works 1 time per turn. At higher levels, it works multiple times per turn. Super cool. It's like a response to, like snipes or enemy jump attacks, or just a pet at the front, can be very nice just to finish things off. Of course, it being a jump attack means it will, the enemy can respond and hit it back whenever it jump attacks, but still, that's a pretty cool idea. Next, we have the European Mink. Adjacent friend attacked, give adjacent friends +1 attack, works 3 times per turn. So similar to the Melee Tapir, it's adjacent friend attack, except instead of buffing itself, it buffs the friends next to it. Next, we have the Proboscis? I'm going to go with Proboscis Monkey. Start of turn. Transform the nearest friend ahead into another pet from the same tier. It doesn't say any pet, so I think I might stay within the pack. We'll see whenever we test it. And it's start of turn, so, it could lead to some interesting things, but you can activate a lot of transform things at the start of turn, which is pretty cool. Pygmy Hog, 5 enemies attack, transform into a 5/5 angry Pygmy Hog with Garlic perk. An angry Pygmy Hog is basically, doesn't have any ability. I think it just says it's really angry, but getting a 5/5 with Garlic, at tier 2, everyone knows, tier 2 Garlic is insane. That's why things like, Lemur had to be changed, where you could get Garlic from a toy for a couple turns at tier 2. That's why one of the reasons Radish is so good. You get a level up into a tier 3, throw a Radish on it, it's got a really high chance of getting a Garlic. Like, this could be really good, and it could be nice. It's 5 enemy attacks, so it can be good with summons, or if the enemy has jump attacks, that sort of thing. Soccer Falcon Saker, not quite sure which way it is. Before attack, if outnumbered, gain +2 attack and +2 health, works 3 times per turn. So basically, it's like a boar, but it only works if there's more enemies than there are pets on your team. So really interesting design there. Next, we have the Seolas. I don't know how to pronounce these, dude. I'm so bad. I need to watch Not a Game Devlogs video again. In turn, give the highest attack friend -1 attack and +2 health. Interesting. So it targets the highest attack, it reduces their attack, but gives them a lot of health to compensate. And at higher levels, it just targets more friends. But hey, it could be some nice scaling, especially if you want just higher HP on your team. There's some pets, that deal with, friends attacking, enemies attacking a certain number of times, and just having more health can help trigger those kind of abilities. Next, we have the Titus Shrew. I think this pet's going to be really darn good. Start of battle, it transforms into a Weasel. Weasel, it's tier 3 from Golden Pack. It gets gold. Now, Weasel's a great pet in Golden Pack. One, it's a feint ability, so you can use stuff like Opossum onto it. 2, it's got a decent start earning stat line, and 3, it's just money. Money is so amazing in this game, lets you take extra actions in your turn you normally wouldn't be able to otherwise. And this pet, even though it's got a lower starting stat line, it's basically a tier 2 weasel just with slightly lower stats. I mean, it's got better stats than the Swan, though of course Swan has a lot of scaling to support it in the turtle pack, help it, get up to speed. I think this is going to be amazing. It's a weasel that also works with transform pets. Like, that's just crazy. It's got different synergies compared to no weasel in the, weasel's got stuff it can work with like gazelle and meerkat and opossum, lettuce, staytrou can't use a lot of that stuff in its pack. Actually in general, I can't use opossum or any of that stuff. But still, very, very nice ability. Gold is just always so good. Next, we have the Taki, I think. Tier 2, Faint. Summon 1 3/2 African Wild Dog that jump attacks the first enemy. Once again, African Wild Dog is right here. Interesting that summons it as a 3/2, so it's always good to set its attack to 3, so you can't use it with like horse or anything like that because it'll just get its attack reset back to 3. But still pretty cool, it's an extra kind of summon thing, but also like goes on the attack. Pretty neat. Also gives you extra, enemy attack, friend attack triggers, which is cool. White-bellied heron, start of battle, give meat bone to the friend ahead. So basically, it's like a meat bone version of the hummingbird, where it's start of battle, giving perks to friends ahead. Pretty neat. A mommy rabbit, tier 3. We're on to tier 3 now. Start of battle, gain +1 attack permanently, and jump attack the highest attack enemy. So it doesn't have a great starting stat line, but I think this could really, with some stats, it can really hold its own for a while, especially getting the attack permanently. And hey, start a battle jump attack that can, get some more attack than African Wild Dog is pretty cool. Next, we have Blue-Throated Macaw. Love this sprite. Very cool pet. Friend Transformed. Give it +2 attack and +1 health until next turn. Very nice. It's got a nice starting stat line 3/4, but works with a lot of great transform abilities. I mean, you can use it with the staytrou to turn it into like a 4/3 weasel. It works, it's not just in battle, so it can work when you use it with stuff like Proboscis Monkey, all that kind of thing. But very nice early game tempo if you're running a transform synergy. You guys can't see it in the bottom right. My brother's playing Balatro. I just saw it pop up. That dude is addicted to Balatro. He's going to watch this video and be like, why'd you call me out like that? But yeah, Rhythm Dealer is addicted to Balatro. I'm just going to say it. Anyways, move on to the next pet. Next, we have the Hirola. I think this will be great for summon teams. It's just really good for a lot of these friend or enemy attack things because it's basically like a sheep, but summons Ethiopian wolves. So when it faints, it summons 2 1/2 Ethiopian wolves. Once again, Ethiopian wolf, when it faints, removes attack from the first enemy. So it's got lower stats than like a ram, but it's got an ability tied into it, but still pretty darn nice. Monkey-faced bat. Anyone behind hurt, give 2 random friends +1 attack, +1 health. Works 3 times per battle. It's pretty cool, it already targets 2 pets at the first, at the beginning of level 1, Level 1, it targets 2 pets. It's not like higher levels targets more pets, just higher levels gives more stats. And it's anyone behind hurt, so that means if their jump attacks, sniped, or if they jump attacks themselves and get hurt, that counts as them being behind, I'm pretty sure. So that's pretty cool way to use some interesting way of doing scaling. And of course in customs, you could use this with stuff like Lamprey or something weird. Though, I mean, at tier 6, if you're using a tier 3 monkey face bat with it, I don't know what you're doing. Pygmy Hippo, 5 enemy attacks, deal 33% of health as snipe damage to the least healthy enemy. Very interesting. So it works off of 5 enemy attacks like the Pygmy Hog, but instead it does a big snipe based on its health, and it's got a pretty good starting health. You can scale that up with a lot of the foods and pets in this pack. Things like the Saola here, how do you pronounce that? Interestingly, at higher levels, it targets more enemies instead of dealing more percentage of health, which I think is fair for a tier 3. Additionally, the most important thing is it targets the least healthy enemy. So, such as the dung beetle, it's not going to be as effective, in the early game. It's going to kill pets that are already going to die pretty much. Late game, it could do a little more, which is nice. But yeah, I think it's pretty fair. Also, speaking of dung beetle did get nerfed. We'll talk about it a little bit later. Next, we have the Rollaway Monkey. Start of battle. Transform 2 friends ahead into any useful level 1 hurt pet from tier 3 or lower. That's a lot of words. Basically, it'll turn the two friends ahead into a hurt pet from tier 3 or lower. So think of like, hedgehog, camel, anything like that. It says useful, so it makes me think like, maybe it won't do some hurt pets like, the rat or sarcastic fringe head, which have the hurt tag. Maybe it means pets that actually say hurt in their ability. Like maybe it won't give you a firefly because that you hurt your own team. I don't know. We'll see what it counts as useful hurt pets. And then at higher levels, it still only does tier 3 or lower hurt pets, which I think is fair. If I could turn pets into like, a level 2 like blowfish or something, that'd be insane. So I think that's pretty cool. Next, we have Spoon-billed Sandpiper tier 3, start of turn. Give adjacent friends +1 to their lowest stat. So just some nice scaling. Doesn't have the best stats, but a little bit of scaling can go a long way. It always targets their lowest stat, which can be useful for a lot of pets that, only scale on a certain, stat. Things like the Amami Rabbit or the Sayola, can be nice with those. And then we have the Taken. I think Taken it is. We'll find out. Friend ahead hurt. Gain +1 attack, +2 health until next turn. So think of this as a middle ground between the Kangaroo and the Minotaur. So Kangaroo is tier 2. Minotaur is tier 4. This one's tier 3. Also, Muskox is tier 3, but compared to, it's pretty similar to Muskox, more so than the other pets, because Kangaroo and Minotaur work when the friend ahead attacks. This is friend ahead hurt, and Muskox is faint. So for that, it means, say it's a jump attack, or, it's like a yak or something, or gets damaged by an elephant, that counts as friend ahead hurt. Of course, it's temporary stats, but I think this will be really solid. Yeah, it's got a pretty poor stat line, same as the Minotaur, but I think with the right team comp, this pet could be really, really good tempo for quite a while. Just like, the Minotaur, Kangaroo, or Muskox are, I think it'd be a pretty solid pet. Tree Kangaroo, start of battle, make the last perkless enemy silly and activated. Now, this pet, I'm so excited for this pet. It is a very fun pet, very silly pet. Silly, for those that don't know, here it is. It's a new ailment. And it says ability has random targets. So how this pet works is at the start of battle, it'll target, a perkless enemy, the backmost one, and it will make it silly and it'll trigger that ability. So say it targets a leopard. Now the leopard will trigger and it will target randomly. So you can have like a level 3 leopard that can snipe 3 of its teammates or something, or maybe it'll still snipe 3 of you. You don't know. Because it's random, it still could be useful for their team. It could do really funny stuff, like, maybe it might just give someone some extra stats, like you activate their hatching chick and it gives stats to your team. Or it can be maybe transform things. I think it might have been just pre-release and they've changed since then, but I think I saw in one of Rev's or Grounded or Sag's videos, like I think it was Sag, his pygmy hog got transformed into an angry pygmy hog because of Silly. That's pretty cool. But yeah, very funny pet, very interesting idea. I really hope they have a way to give Silly to your own pets just for maximum chaos, but we'll see if there'll be some in the future. But yeah, very excited for this. Very fun. And then we have the Tukushi? I don't know. Feint. Push the backmost friend to the front and give it +3 attack, +3 health in battle. So I think if it's like a Feint version of the Emu or, Fairy Dust or something like that. I'm not going to say emu because if I say emu, I get more engagement comments because people tell me I pronounce it wrong. But anyway, push the backmost friend to the front and give it attack and health. This can be very nice to synergize. Just give it great stats, but it can work with pets like the Taken, just to give more triggers for the friend ahead. So very cool idea there. Also, it only does, the backmost, just gives more stats. And it doesn't work in the shop, which I think is very fair. Imagine if on tier 3 you had a pet you could pill in the shop to give you +3 attack and health. It's almost as good as the beta fish, except beta fish, you can actually do something similar. Anyway, now we're on to tier 4. Amazon River Dolphin. Adjacent friend attacked. Deal 3 damage to its target or gain +3 attacks. This isn't like it randomly decides between the two. Basically how it works, if the adjacent friend attacks and the enemy is still alive, it'll deal snipe damage to that pet. But if the adjacent friend attacks and the enemy target is fainted, then it will give itself attack. So it's not like randomly choosing between the two. It's basically if the enemy is still alive or not, it'll do one of these two abilities. But very interesting idea. I don't think we had something like this before where it can do snipes or buff itself. Very interesting idea. I love these pets that kind of have two abilities in one, like Dimetrodon. We've seen it before, so very interested to use that pet. Also great sprite, Pink Dolphin. Next is the Angel Shark. End turn, give friends +1 to their highest stat. This could be really nice for certain teams that focus on a certain type of scaling, you know, like you have a lot of, say you have like, you're running a team with like a badger and a stonefish and a leopard. Like, yeah, giving extra to your highest stat is good. Think of it as like a corn cob thing, like a farmer dog, but only for their highest stat instead of their lowest stat. So pretty cool idea there. Bonobo, start of turn, transform into the frontmost friend. So this is a transform trigger they can also use to get duplicates. So say, you've got like a 1.5, like, I don't know, something at the front. Like you got a 1.5, I don't know, tree kangaroo at the front. Well, guess what? You put the Bonobo on your team, start of next turn, it'll transform into the frontmost friend, and there's your level up. Very nice for that. I've heard some rumors from the people who played the test server or had the private test server. They said, I think RepGT said this was probably the most broken pet in superautopets history in its original version. Very interested to hear from the people who played the original version just how crazy some of these pets were. Because as some of y'all know, when Unicorn Pack dropped, that pack was absolutely insanely broken with abilities. And obviously with this testing, the pets have been toned down a lot and they got through that phase in testing, which I'm very thankful for. But very interested to see what these pets like Bonobo were like in the pre-release version. But yeah, in this current version, still very nice. It's a free transform trigger that also can help with leveling up. So very excited. Probably put that in one of my custom packs, to be honest. Next, we have Giant Otter. Before attack, give friends +3 attack and +3 health while in start of battle. Oops, sorry, before battle, not before attack. So before battle, give friends +3 attack, +3 health while in start of battle. I'm confused a little bit on that wording. I think what it's trying to say is like during the start of battle phase, it'll give your friends +3 attack and +3 health before, the rest of the start of battle phase happens. I think that's how it's worded. I'm not really sure. I haven't really seen it used yet, so I guess we'll find out with some testing. But yeah. Next, Giant Tortoise. In turn, gain +2 health and set attack to 4. The health can go to 100. This pet looks so much fun, dude. I mean, its attack can't really be that high unless you combo with pets that can give attack in battle. But the fact this health can scale so high is just so fun for lots of abilities that deal with enemies or friends attacking or adjacent friends attacked. I think it's a very versatile pet that can be very fun in a lot of situations. Just imagine stuff like talking, could be crazy. Next up, Golden Tamarin. Before battle, transform into any useful level 1 start of battle pet from tier 5. Now, start of battle pets from tier 5, let's look at what that selection is. Let me pull it up on my phone. So some of the pets that this can transform into is things like, it's useful. So maybe like, crocodiles, swordfish, woodpecker, red dragon, things like that. I wonder if useful will exclude pets like hyena, that could be a little more disruptive to your team than you're expecting. But a lot of interesting pets from there. And of course, since it's before battle, that means it'll activate the start of battle ability. So you can get, a sea cucumber during battle or something like that. So very interesting. That's not even counting the start of battle pets from tier 5 that are in the danger pack itself. Next, we have Humphead Wrasse, I think it's pronounced. Start of battle, remove 25% attack from the highest attack enemy. It's the only pet we've had since the goose that can remove, or I think it's the only time you can remove a percentage attack from an enemy. There's usually pets that remove a set attack like the goose or the, what's it called? That new tier 1, the Ethiopian wolf. I guess we've had like the, where are we at? The Luska before can remove stats, but generally they've been very careful about pets that remove attack. Luckily for this pet at higher levels, 25% attack is not that great at level 1. Higher levels, it still only targets the highest attack friend. So for tier 4, I think it's pretty balanced. Could be very interesting to use with certain kinds of pets. Kakapo. I think it's Kakapo. We'll find out. Friend transformed. Give it +3 experience. Works 1 time per battle. So think of it as like, a alpaca, flying fish, that sort of pet, where it gives XP to something in battle. And +3, instantly levels it up. So very interesting with a lot of transform pets. Imagine, Golden Tamarin transforms to a crocodile. This makes it level 2 and kills your backline. That could be really funny. But yeah, very interesting. Cool synergy between XP and, transform pets. And of course, it only works in battle, which would be busted if it was in the shop. Can you imagine, like, you water view something, get +3 experience? That'd be insane. Next, we have the Longcomb Sawfish. Love this sprite. 5 enemy attacks. Gain +4 health and remove 4 health from all enemies. This is a very cool idea. Obviously, it takes some enemy attacks for it to go off, but, at that point, once you get to that point, you're really debuffing whatever's left in the enemy team, making yourself stronger, hopefully be able to sweep through the rest of it. Very cool idea right there. Tasmanian Devil, start of battle, jump attack the lowest attack enemy for 50% attack damage. So 50% of its own attack. So, starting, it'll be like 2 or 3 or whatever. I can't remember how rounding works in Super Autopets, I'll be honest. It always targets the lowest attack enemy at higher levels. It just jumps attack it for more damage. So this is actually, a jump attack pet that can scale really well. See, for attack damage, I wonder if, since it's a jumping attack for a certain amount of attack damage, that mean like it does 5 damage like a normal jump attack, we're using its own stats, and then does additional on top of that? I'm not sure. Like, we'll see whenever we test it. And now on to tier 5, we got the II. 8 enemies attack, summon 2 lemurs, and give all friends +3 attack, +3 health. Now, lemur doesn't do anything in battle, but still interesting. But how it works, is, a lot of enemies attack. 8 feels like a lot, but once you have enough summons, you can really make this work. And that +3 attack and health to the whole team, like, that can go a long way, especially when you're adding 2 summons into it. You're getting at least, with the II and the 2 lemurs, at least +9/9, plus whatever else is on the team. Like, that's honestly not a bad pet. I've seen a couple YouTubers use this already in some teams to good success, so very excited for that. We got the Bangai Cardinal Fish. Start of battle, remove 6 attack from everyone to a minimum of 5 attack. So start of battle attack removal. Now it is set attack, but that's still a lot of attack to remove, but it balances out by doing it from everyone. But this could be really nice with things like Giant Tortoise, where, it's already going to have very much attack. And of course, reducing attack helps with things like enemy attacks and friend attacks, just helping with all that kind of hurt synergy. And of course, minimum of 5 attack is a very nice, very nice way to keep it from being overly busted. Imagine like having like tiger, cardinal, parrot, cardinal fish, and you just like reduce someone's leopard team to have like 10 attack or something. That'd be amazing. Next to pet, I'm very excited to use Geometric Tortoise. Hurt. Deal 33% of damage taken as snipe damage to 1 random enemy. So think of it as a blowfish that scales based on its own attack. Super cool idea. I can already imagine this being absolutely crazy in certain kinds of comps when you really scale it up. Very excited to do it. And it's based on damage. Sorry, it doesn't scale with its attack. It does damage based on the damage it took. So that can like go absolutely crazy with, enemies that what's the balanced thing about it is it's based on damage taken, so you can't just use it with an elephant because that's going to do like nothing to the enemy because the elephant does 1 damage to it, something lamprey. But it can be really nice for just mowing through enemy teams if you have enough stats on it. It can live enough hits. Imagine it with like a Margosaurus or something in customs that can keep replenishing its HP, so it can take a bunch of big damage hits and do big damage snipes. It looks like a lot of fun. Very excited to use this pet. Next, we have the giant Pangasius. I think I just saw, dude, freaking Rhythm Dealer's playing Bellotro again. I swear, this dude. He just like pulls out his Steam Deck and plays a game of Bellotro. Anyway, giant Pangasius. Faint. Deal 4 damage to 1 random enemy for each friendly transformation this turn. So think of it as like a transformation version of the lionfish. It doesn't scale on its own attack, but scales based on friends transformed. There's a lot of ways to get a lot of transforms in battle now, thanks to all these new transform pets. So it could be very interesting. Could do a lot of damage, honestly, just based on if you get a lot of transforms. Very cool idea for a pet. Next, we have the Hawaiian Monk Seal. Friend attacks. If still standing, give it permanent +2 health. Works on 3 friends per turn. I like this because 1, it's a very interesting way of scaling, like rewards you for surviving. And the good thing about it is it only works on 3. It works based on 3 friends. It doesn't have like 3 triggers, so you can't just like give it, have it give +2 health to your Geometric Tortoise 3 times. No, it only works on 1 friend, but it can work up to 3 friends, per turn. It's a very cool idea. Marine Iguana. Before friend attacks, give it melon. Works on one friend per turn. Dude, it just mirrors this just like a better crane. Yeah, crane can give you attack as well, but the crane requires the friend to be alive. It has to have the friend attack first. Like, dude, just a way to give a friend melons just like for free. You know, it works on a few different friends per turn. But yeah, I think this will be a very good pet to use. Speaking of good pets with perks, next is Painted Terrapin. Very cool art, really like it. When it faints, it gives a white ochre perk to the nearest friend behind. Now, white ochre is a brand new perk that's also available in the shop starting on tier 6, but you can get it on tier 5 thanks to this pet. And white ochre, this pet, it's like a super potato, dude, or ambrosia, or however you want to look at it. It blocks 10 damage or an ailment twice. So, you know, it works as like, you know, think of it as like a melon slice or a, you know, ambrosia. So say at the beginning of battle, you get a weakness on your pet. That'll use one of its 2 triggers, and then it attacks a pet and blocks 10 damage. So it can do both in the same turn. Very cool idea. And you can get it a little early thanks to this Painted Terrapin. Red Panda. I'm so glad red pandas are in this game. One of my favorite pets in real life. They're just so cute. Buy. Choose and transform into a pet from the next shop tier from any pack. Dude, I already know Grounded Sap loves this pet. I'm very excited to use this pet because it's just going to let you completely explode the amount of, you know, possibilities of pets you can use within the danger pack, just because it can be from any pack. You could get, you know, an orca in your, you know, pack. You get a lioness, you can get like a snake. All these pets that get synergized, they wouldn't really get to use in danger pack otherwise. Of course, you know, it is what is it, you know, you buy it and you choose it and it gets to be that pet. Now one thing to point out is if you're achievement hunter, don't worry, you can actually skip it. So you know, higher levels, it doesn't change the ability at all, but you can skip the buy ability if you're just trying to get red panda achievements. So that's good, at least for that. But yeah, very fun idea for a pet. I'll always love pets that are just kind of like let you just something random to give you something really interesting to use for a run. Very excited for that. Next we have Snow Leopard. Start of battle, gain +5 attack and health and jump attack 1 random enemy. So very nice. You know, it doesn't have great starting base stats, but with the +5/5, like it's basically an 8/7 starting stat line that gets to attack out of order at start of battle. Like, that's pretty darn good. Now, what I like about it, you know, at higher tiers, it only does 1 random enemy still targeting, you know, which is, you know, pretty fair. If it could jump attack multiple times, that'd be insane. But yeah, very cool idea for an ability. Get some nice stats as well. This could be nice tempo, even if you're not running a jump attack team. Like, just having like an 8, you know, or whatever, it's an 8/7 pet, you know, that jump attacks. Like, that's just nice tempo to have in any kind of team, I think. And then we have the Taita Thrush. I think this is the last of our tier 5s. Adjacent friend attacked. Give friends +1 attack, +2 health. This is similar to the, what was that other pet? What was it? The one that gave stats to a couple different pets. Here it is. Monkey Face Bat, except this one was anyone behind her. It gave +1 attack and health. This one is adjacent friend attack, so in front or behind. So you can really abuse this with jump attacks and things like that. It'd just be some nice scaling, you know, pretty good for a tier 5. Now on to the tier 6s. Amsterdam Albatross. Friend transformed, give it permanent +1 attack, +2 health. You know, this is the axolotl, chimpanzee, whatever late game scaling for an archetype that you get. You know, this is pretty darn nice, especially with so many ways to transform pets, both in the shop and in battle. This would be just a really nice way to cap off transform synergies and just get a lot of stats. Next up, Bake Hat Faint. Summon any one useful start a battle pet from tier 4 and activate its ability. So it's basically a faint pet that triggers a start of battle pet when it faints. Like, it's so cool. So say it can faint, and say it summons a skunk and it immediately activates and reduces the highest health enemy. Things like that. It can summon like a hawk, goblin shark, lynx, things like that. Now, I'm guessing, you know, useful might mean ignore something like Hotsun or Raspoli's Tarako that need like strawberries, you know, maybe Leafy Sea Dragon that'll remove itself. Maybe it'll still be useful because of the experience. But yeah, very interesting idea to use with a pet. You know, Faint with Start a Battle is just an interesting idea we haven't seen before. And of course, Start a Battle pet includes pets from this pack, such as the Tasmanian Devil. Black Rhino. 8 enemy attacks deal 30 damage to 1 random enemy. That is a big, beefy snipe. 30 damage, but of course it takes 8 whole enemy attacks to get there. So you'll have to use some jump attacks and summons and things like that. Lots of, reducing their attack and improving your health just to make sure you get it to trigger. But that's just a huge snipe damage that can just completely wreck teams. Very excited for that. We got the Blue Whale, the mascot of the pack. 12-12 starting stat line, which is insane. That's as good as the Behemoth. But yeah, how it works is in start of turn, it'll remove all of its friends, gain plus 10 gold, and give future shot pets plus 2 attack, plus 2 health. So it's like a lioness that also gives you gold, but you can't have any pets, in it at the beginning of battle or at the beginning of your turn. You can buy other pets to have during battle. So say, you get this early, you can start scaling your shop, and then, as you go along, you can buy some tempo pets like the Snow Leopard that can just, work well. You just buy tempo pets, get a lot of gold the next turn, and keep scaling the shop. Of course, you can't run, doesn't seem like you can use multiple blue whales because it removes friends, but still a very interesting idea. It's like the old Leviathan, but a lot more interesting to use. So yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. Seems like a pet you wouldn't take all the time, maybe you could risk it on 9 wins just because it's starting stat line, but if you lose or draw, it could suck really bad. But for overall, seems like a pet that it's not the most widely applicable thing, but if you can high roll it enough, it could be very, very fun to use. Next, we have the California Condor. Friend transformed, gain its level 1 ability, works 2 times per battle. So it's like a abomination, except it works when the friend transforms. So, say you've got your, I don't know, just saying these pets that transforms in battle, or it's just whenever it transforms. That's crazy. You have a red panda transform into an orca, now your California Condor has an orca ability. And at higher levels, it gets those abilities at level 2 and level 3. This could be a very fun pet to use. I love that. Green Sea Turtle. 5 enemy attacks give all friendly pets melon that blocks 20 damage, works 1 time per turn. So like the other ones that take a lot of attacks to trigger, really needs a lot of abilities to get it to work. But the fact that it can give everyone melons is already insane enough. Melons to the whole team. But on top of that, it can give better and best melons, basically, that block 40 and 60 damage. That may as well be a coconut, That's crazy. Could be a very, very strong pet in the right team comp, which is very fair for a tier 6. Next, we have the Helmeted Hornbill. In turn, gives 3 friends plus 2 to their lowest stats. So just some end of turn scaling. Can still be very nice, in the late game. Stats are always nice. Stats are king. And giving to your lowest stats is not the worst thing, especially when it's giving plus 2 to each of them. So pretty cool. Next, we have the Hooded Seal. I don't know why it's in this order. The Hooded Seal is actually customs exclusive, even though there's some pets after that's in the base pack. It's the only custom exclusive pet from the Danger Pack. But let's look at how it works. Friend transformed. Transform it back and down to level 1. Works 2 times per turn. So it's a way to, make transform pets transform in extra time. Though it transforms it down to other levels, which can be pretty cool with certain abilities. But yeah, very interesting to see how people use this. Retransforming pets could be very interesting. Philippine Eagle, probably Philippine because the Philippines. What was it? Or Philippine. Anyone jumped, give 1 random friend plus 4 attack, plus 4 health. This counts both for jump abilities and for jump attacks, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure all the jump abilities like Loveland Frogman work for jump attacks now. But don't worry, they already addressed the Loveland Frogman you'll see in a little bit to compensate for, having way more ways to trigger it, especially start a battle. But anyone jumped, give random friend plus 4 attack, plus 4 health. If you have a lot of jumps and jump attacks, this scaling could be absolutely amazing. That's just a lot of attack and health to give. Yeah, only targets 1 pet at a time, but still, plus 4/4 is nothing to scoff at. Next, we have the Silky Shifaka, something like that. It might be Shifaka. Start of battle, transform 2 friends behind into any useful level 1 faint pets from tier 6. Very nice way to get transforms in the late game, or to turn pets that don't have in-battle abilities into ones that do. Faint friends from tier 6, not including stuff from the Danger Pack. That can include things like, Mammoth, lionfish, ammonite, orca, anything like that. I'm guessing useful might mean it won't do things like, I don't know, probably won't do like loot that needs mana, maybe not boxfish because that can really hurt you a lot of times. We'll see what it counts as useful. But yeah, very helpful both for transform teams, just to have pets that aren't specifically transform still work their transform synergies, or just turn pets without in-battle abilities into ones that do. And then finally, we have the Sumatran tiger. Start of battle, jump attack the opposite enemy. So of course, it's just attack it out of order. But at higher levels, how it works is it does splash damage basically to adjacent enemies on top of that, which I think is a really interesting idea. And because the opposite ability can really use this in versus to like counter certain pets, which I think is going to be really interesting. Now let's move on to the new foods introduced. There are a lot of them here. First off, we have fresh water. Give one pet +2 to their lowest stats. Pretty cool. It's like we already have bacon and peach, but this will target the lowest stat, which is pretty interesting. A lot of pets and foods that targets the lowest stat. You haven't seen that terribly much, since just right porridge. So that's pretty cool. Gross Michelle, I think, banana. Transform into an ant before attack. It can be nice to get transformed on pets that don't already have it. Especially early, you could use this with something like the Togian Babarusa to still get those amazing starting stat line without helping the enemy whenever it faints. That's pretty cool. Unagi. Start of battle, deal 2 damage to a random enemy. Pretty nice. Early perk that just gives you free snipe damage. Can be really nice. Antarctic krill. This food seems so freaking good. Stock any free useful perk food from the current tier. So, get yourself, outside of the pack, get yourself some early garlics, get yourself some early, like bananas, potatoes, any of that crazy stuff just for free. And in the late game, get higher, you still, because it's from the current tier, like in the late game, you can give yourself mushrooms and steaks and melons and stuff like that. Maybe durians, on tier 5. Like the fact that's a useful perk and it's at tier 2, like, I'm probably going to throw this in all of my custom packs. Like, it's just so much utility with this food here. Seems very good for a tier 2 food. Cod Roe. Give one pet the Cod Roe perk. Faint summon a 2/3 fish. Very nice. Early game foods that can summon pets on faint. You basically have like the honeybee and the faint bread. Tier 3, you didn't have anything already, though. Then at tier 4, you had banana. Actually, like pretty much every tier. Yeah, tier 5 has the Easter egg. Tier 6 has the Yggdrasil fruit. So I guess this is our tier 2. No, wait, no, sorry. This is tier 2, not tier 3. So it's the same tier as the faint bread. But Fate summons a fish, so it doesn't do anything in battle unless you use it with flying fish. But still, like summoning a 2/3 on faint, we've already seen that be really strong with the beluga sturgeon. So very nice way to get, some extra summons or extra enemy or friend attacks in the early game using a food perk. Sudeth something tomato. Hurt if still standing, gave permanent +1 health once. They basically took the cauliflower and made it better because it comes at tier 2. This ain't bad for a tier 2 perk, honestly. Like getting permanent health is not bad when it's this early. The problem with pets, foods like the cauliflower is just not much scaling at such a late tier. But at tier 2, the +1 health permanently, if it's still standing, like that's honestly not bad at all. I think it's pretty fair. Tier 3, we have 2 foods that are kind of the opposite. Give +3 attack, +3 health. We've seen a lot of foods like this. We already have the fried shrimp and the broccoli at tier 2. Those, of course, reduce the stat in addition to gaining it. Same thing with like the just right porridge, or not what's it called, the eat me cake, drink me liquid at tier 4. So this is kind of that kind of idea, but at tier 3. And of course, +3 stats is not bad in any means, can be very nice. We also have a tier 3 food perk. Friend feints jump attack the highest enemy once. So it's a way to get jump attacks on enemies that don't have a jump attack ability. So you can use any kind of pet with jump attack synergy. Always nice to see them have food perks and stuff that let you use pets that don't have an ability with a certain archetype. Things like fairy dust are very nice for things like this. Tier 4, transform chickpea. Transform one pet into another of the same tier and give 2 other +1 attack and health. So basically, it choose a pet within the pack, I'm pretty sure, and transform that pet into a different one. So it's a transform trigger that also scales a couple of your pets. Not bad for a tier 4 food. Though, of course, we can transform. We can transform it into a pet and transform it right back if you use another chickpea on it, which could be pretty funny. Maple syrup, this could be a really interesting food to use with certain builds. Deal and take 50% attack damage once. So it's could be really nice as like a version of like salt or steak or cheese or something like that. Throw in a pet with some good attack and low health that's already gonna not live, you know, one attack probably. And it can really punch above its weight. Like 50% extra attack damage is nothing to scoff at. You can do this with some jump attacks as well. Pretty cool. Vanilla bean, this seems very, very nice, especially for pivots. Give the 2 leftmost shop pets +2 attack, +3 health. So if you're looking to pivot soon, or there's a pet you really want, you know, freeze it, roll it, buy a vanilla bean, and it's automatically a lot better when you put it onto your team. Very excited to use this food. Seems very nice for pivoting, and just in general, like just giving +2 attack, +3 health is just really good. Cocoa bean, before attack, transform into an exact copy of a random enemy once. Now, I think exact copy also means maybe it'll copy the stats and maybe the perks too. I don't know. It says exact. Could be very interesting, you know. Of course, it targets a random enemy, only works once, but I still think could be a very interesting way to, like, you know, it's like, you know, think of it was like a butterfly maybe, but, you know, on any pet one time. Not bad at all. Of course, it's random though. Won't do the highest, so not as strong as like a butterfly, you know, which is fair. Then we got the Oblanot, give 1 pet +5 to its lowest stat. So we've got, you know, freshwater for +2, just right porch for +3, and now Oblanot +5. There's, you guys can't see it, Rhythm Dealers playing Balatro number 3 at this point. Dude, this dude, he just picks up his Steam Deck, plays a game, and puts it down, I swear. Give 1 pet +5 to its lowest stat. +5 items to your lowest stat is a lot of scaling. Very nice. You know, a lot of foods at tier 5 will give +5 stats just spread out. You know, think of like lasagna and cotton candy. You know, will give +2, +3, +3, +2. You know, that sort of thing. This one just gives +5, but it's to your lowest stat. But yeah, it seems like a very good food. Now onto the tier 6. We got Judean Date. Stock 1 2 gold melon and 1 2 gold steak. So as if it wasn't already enough having the white okra and the, you know, we already have white okra, which we talked about, block 10 damage or ailment, which is a great perk. We've also, you know, got painted terrapin and the marina iguana to give us some stuff, green sea turtle. Here's another way of getting melon and a steak, which, you know, an alternative to things like the maple syrup. Like, they're like, oh, you guys don't have melon in the pack? Well, here you go. This could be very nice in customs as well, just to free up your tier 6 food slot. Yeah, it costs extra money. It's a 2 gold melon and steak, but just having access to melon and steak and 1 food, especially in a pack that doesn't have it naturally outside of some abilities, is very good, and it's just be really good. Now, it won't be like, it's not good to see melon and everything because you have things like white okra that have some utility as well. But yeah, I think it'll be very good. Also, I think white okra is going to be absolutely amazing. I wish I had this in golden pack. How else am I supposed to deal with unicorn pack? Anyway. And finally, tier 6, give 1 pet the Sardinian Currant perk. Start of turn, gain +2 gold. So basically, it's like grapes, but at tier 6. Could be interesting with certain kinds of, what's it called? Certain kinds of pets, or just, you know, pets that don't really need a food perk. Just get some extra gold. +2 gold is nothing to scoff at. So yeah, that's it for the new pets and foods. Let's go over some balance changes real quick. Not as many as you might expect, but still some very important changes. Let me sit upright. So first off, Dung Beetle. Faint, deal 3 damage to the least healthy enemy for each food eaten this turn, up to 3 food. So yeah, Anubis Dung Beetle was wrecking the customs arena for a long time because you could give it a million feed triggers thanks to things like Farmer Cat and Waffle and Farmer Dog and all that stuff. So it's very fair doing it up to 3 food. I still think Anubis is the main problem pet because outside of Anubis, this pet wasn't that great because it always targeted the least healthy, and at low tiers, it would mostly just kill pets that already had low HP. But yeah, it needed to be changed in some way. I still think Anubis is the problem pet, but whatever. Still a good change, very healthy for the game. Axolotl, friendly gained perk, give it permanent +1 attack and health. Only works 3 times per turn. Thank the Lord. This pet was out of control for the last update for months. Just with all the ways to get perks, you would use it with Radish, use it with, you know, Brain Cramp and Tar and Good Dog, and just get way too many stats per battle. Also related to food perk scaling, Elephant Seal, gain perk, give 3 friends +5 attack and +5 health until next turn. but only works one time per turn, and it's temporary. So no longer is Elephant Seal one of the best wide scalers in the game. Very nice temporary stats, still see some use in certain kinds of team comps. Nice tempo as well. But the main thing is it's no longer permanent scaling for free, you know? And it used to be like, you know, gain permanent stats and then in the battle it would get double that. Also, it's no longer a 3-9, it's now a 2-8, probably to compensate for how many stats it gives. But yeah, very interesting idea. I like this change. No longer is it a boring permanent scaler, but it still is really nice tempo. It can be used with the food perk builds it was originally designed to work with. Next, we have the Grizzly Bear. 5 friendly attacks deal 5 damage to 2 random enemies. It used to be 6 damage, so it got nerfed slightly. Now, it was pretty darn good in Golden Pack, though not as good as things like, you know, Poison Dart Frog and whatever. But I think it was also done because of all the new ways to get friendly attacks with the jump attack pets, just to keep it from being absolutely absurd in custom. So I think it's fair, and it'll still be really good in Golden Pack, honestly. Like 5 damage to 2 random enemies, 10 damage is still nothing to scoff at. Leveling Frogman now only works 3 times per battle. Like I said, jumped also counts for jump attacks now, so this is probably just a way to keep that scaling from going out of control. Plus, when you used Loveland Frogman with things like Tsuchinoko Fairy Dust to like scale it like 2-3 times per battle, like it was just kind of insane there with all the permanent scaling. So I think it's a very fair change. And then Oyster Mushroom, very happy to see this change. I think Oyster Mushroom was so dumb before. Before attack, it would transform the nearest friend ahead into that pet at level 1. So it's a way to get a lot of easy pet abilities in battle. Give yourself extra Lynxes, give yourself extra, you know, Anubis to activate your Dung Beetles, things like that. They completely got rid of its ability to transform a friend at start of battle because now they have a lot of other pets that can do that in the pack. But before attack, set attack and health to at least 9 once. Interesting that it's at least 9. Does that mean if it's got higher than that, it won't do it? I don't know, but it still can be nice tempo. You know, it's a free perk that everyone gets, I'm pretty sure. And, you know, it can still be nice tempo to give something extra stats at the start of battle. Think of it as like, you know, a pie kind of thing. But of course, it only does it up to 9, so it won't be as good in the late game. But really nice tempo. And then let's read what they say here at the bottom of the patch notes. A long time ago, we had the idea for a pack that highlights and celebrates endangered animals. That pack, the Danger Pack, is now finally here, so they've been working on it for a long time. We spent a lot of time squeezing out new gameplay mechanics that don't stray too far from the old mechanics of the game. That's why a lot of these are simpler abilities and not as crazy complicated. There is some interesting stuff in here. Lots of experiments, failures, retries, redos. The pack has been a very long time in the making. Guys, I think I get the idea that it's been a long time on this pack. I don't know about you. The Danger Pack is available now. We hope you'll like it. Oh, and some changes and bug fixes. Change the calculation for remaining triggers when merging 2 pets. Interesting. Does this mean it can't do trigger resets anymore? For those that don't know, there's this tech where, say there's a pet that had a limited amount of triggers. Say like, you know, the hamster, it worked 2 times per turn. What you could do is once it ran out of triggers, you could buy a new copy of the pet. And since the new pet hadn't used its ability yet, you can merge the one that had used its triggers onto the new one and then get all its ability triggers again. So say you had a level 2 hamster, you rolled 4 times per turn and it ran out of ability triggers. You could buy a level 1 hamster that hadn't used its 2 triggers yet, merge the level 2 that used up its triggers onto the level 1. It's now level 2.33. And since you merged it onto the new pet hadn't used its triggers yet. Well, guess what? Now, since it's a level 2 and it hasn't used its trigger yet, you're getting an extra, you get 4 rolls because it's a level 2. That's a bad way of explaining it. But basically, it'll let you use abilities like you bought a level 1 hamster, merged the level 2 onto it, and now you get a level 2 hamster again because it's, you know, level 2 and hadn't used its triggers yet. I wonder if that's what's changed. That's going to be, honestly, I think I kind of like this change. It was kind of insane with pets like hamster or pets like centipede. Centipede was very, very strong for something like this. All right, editing Troubadour here. Just going to test how this merge thing works. We're going to buy 1 centipede. Triggers this one. Now this one hasn't used its ability. But if we merge onto it, you can see it no longer keeps its triggers. So I was right, you can no longer do trigger resets, which is honestly fair. And just for more testing purposes, you can see this bird of paradise is at 0, this one's at 4. If I merge into it, it keeps the 4, so it can still do some kind of Bird of Paradise cycling. See, this one's now at 0, and now it keeps it at 3, so that's still in the game. And just for clarity's sake, when you level up, you still get the trigger reset. So you can see I can roll 4 times, now it's level 2. But once again, merging into a new copy of the pet, you still get the triggers of the old pet. So I don't just get a new level 2 hamster just for free. I think this is a fair change. It was a really cool tech, but it kind of got out of hand with certain pets. So if that is what this is describing, maybe I'm completely wrong. I think it's a fair change. Fixed Abomination not swallowing pets if there's a frozen copy. So Abomination can swallow multiple copies of the same pet. Of course, it would already skip over pets that were frozen. But say you had a leopard frozen and a leopard unfrozen, it would skip over the unfrozen one because it saw it as being a duplicate, so that's a bug fix. There's actually a few changes that aren't documented here that I'm gonna go over real quick as well. Now, some of the undocumented changes is there's actually a lot of custom tag changes with, things like this, like Pigga's Golden Cycle, that sort of thing. First off, they added a transform tag into the game with all the new transform archetype, and they gave the transform to some of the pre-existing pets. They didn't do it to every transform pet, only to ones that can affect your own team. So Basilisk can affect your team, Tadpole transforms itself, Quail Chick, Fair Armadillo, Caterpillar, Gelada, and the Ammonite all now have the transform tag. This doesn't affect things like, red-lipped batfish or cockatrice that are transformed but don't affect your own team. Oh, I guess Flounder doesn't count either. Interesting. But those kind of pets don't count as transform tag. Also, Desert Rain Frog, even though it transforms, just because, I guess because it affects the enemy, or it's already got some kind of limiting factor. Like Desert Rain Frog, things like, like Squid is a trumpet pet that doesn't have the ailment, probably because it's already limiting that you need trumpets to do it, so they don't give it the other tag. Skeleton Dog is a scaler that doesn't have the buffs tag because it needs a feint, So it's a way they balance around these kind of abilities. That's why Desert Rain Frog may not have the transform tag, but we'll see if that gets out of hand. Maybe they'll change that later. Other tag changes, we'll just go over them one by one. The Budgie now has the summon tag. Also, I'm missing a couple. I just looked over this recently. I just went over this, just scrolling between my phone on the old update and this one, the new update, just looking at the pets individually, seeing what changed. Maybe there's some ones I didn't notice, and maybe some of the superautopets official Discord's already listed all these, but I'm just gonna go over the ones that I noticed myself. So yeah, Basilisk has the transform tag. Budgie now has the summon tag, which makes sense because it's summoned, Popcorn is basically a summon pet. Tadpole has the transform tag right there. At tier 3, the Hatching Chick now has the level up tag, since at level 3 it can give experience. I don't know how much this will affect things because Hatching Chick was already a great pet, but I guess you can't use it with Pug and, Lucky Cat and all that in the same pack. But very fair because at level 3 it just gave you experience. Flying Fish now has, where's Flying Fish? Flying Fish now has the XP tag, level up tag. I think that's very fair because it was so darn strong early, giving that experience at the start of battle. Works so great with summon pets, so that's pretty cool. One of the best changes here, Brain Cramp now has the perks tag, so you no longer can throw it into these crazy teams. You can't have, Ox and Brain Cramp and Cardinal all in the same pack because getting Melon and it didn't have the perk tag already was already insane, so I think that's a fair way of adjusting it. Quail Chick, already said, has the transform tag. We go to tier 4. Caterpillar has the transform tag. Fairy Armadillo has the transform tag. One of the interesting changes, Praying Mantis. It no longer has the hurt tag. It used to have the hurt tag like Fairy Armadillo. Now it's just the buffs tag, which I think, fair enough. It scaled itself. That's a fair way of adjusting it. So you can't have, your Praying Mantis as well as a lobster and a manatee and all this other stuff in the same pack. But yeah, changed from hurt to buffs. Did not get any additions or anything like that. Gelada now get the transform tag added to it. So yeah, that's it for tier 4. Tier 5. One of the most interesting changes, Bad Dog now has the disruption tag. That's probably because the Evil Book Great One was such a strong disruption tool. that they just had to put the disruption tag on it so you couldn't make it crazy disruption on tier 5 with standard packs. Because look at all these amazing disruption pets. You could have, you know, Bad Dog and Woodpecker and Crocodile all in the same pack before, but now that's changed. Very fair change. Actually, funnily enough, I think, yeah, it's the only toy pet that has another tag now. So, you know, even though, you know, you can do like, you know, this has scaling and disruption, you know, and this has perks and disruption. They don't give it the other tags, but Bad Dog is the only one to get that treatment, get another tag on top of the toy tag. Very interesting. And then tier 6, we have the Ammonite now has the transform in addition to level up and rolling tag. And they also finally gave Ostrich the buffs tag. Now this will nerf it in custom packs. You can't just have, you know, you could before you can run a Bird of Paradise and an Ostrich and a Behemoth like all in the same team. You can no longer do that. Now, they did adjust Ammonite and Ostrich's abilities, so jury's still out if they'll still be crazy broken within Star Pack. They probably still will be, but at least in Customs, they're a little more limiting in how you can build the pack around them. Their abilities still seem very strong. Now, outside of custom pack tag changes, I think that's all the ones that went changed that they didn't say in the patch notes. In terms of the new pets, there's some interesting choices. Obviously, you know, Green Sea Turtle works for perks, but also summons since it counts on enemy attacks. Also, all the jump attack pets have guard in their thing for the most part. Was there anything else interesting for the new pets in terms of their custom tags? I don't know. Maybe we'll see in the future. Maybe some of these should have had something and they, you know, don't have a custom tag. But yeah, a lot of these 5 enemy attack things had the summon archetype added to them since, you know, summon pets are how you're going to activate them a lot of the time. Bonobo does not have, just has a transform, even though they're going to use it for level ups a lot. So that's interesting. Same thing as, you know, like Venus Flytrap, you know, XP pet that doesn't have an XP tag. Anything else? Rollaway counts as a hurt tag since it's got to transform things into hurt pets. Same thing with Talkin synergizes with hurt pets, so it's going to have the hurt tag. That's summon, that makes sense. Anything else that seems out of place for this? Titus Shrew has the gold tag, which makes sense because it's essentially a weasel at tier 2. Pygmy Hog has transform and summon since it's 5 enemy attacks and it transforms itself. Anything else crazy? That makes sense not having a tag because the board doesn't have a tag. What about tier 1? Obviously that has the food tag, that has ailment tag. No, I don't see anything out of the ordinary. So yeah, that's kind of it for the custom tags. And just a couple other things to go over before we try out the new pack. Couple other changes that have happened. First off, they've added 2 brand new mascots for the new pack, the blue whale and the red panda, looking very cute. Very excited to unlock those. Still sad they never added mascots for the unicorn pack, but oh well. I don't think they added any more hats or instances or any other cosmetics, backgrounds. Did they add any backgrounds? Actually, I'm not sure. Okay, they didn't add any more backgrounds to unlock. But that's it for new unlocks. And then finally, you'll see as we do the gameplay, they changed the attack abilities animations. Sorry, they changed the attack animations for a lot of pets and a lot of archetypes. And it's a little bit different. It'll take some getting used to, but I think it'll really speed up the gameplay, you know, with the new attack animation changes. All right, so since I recorded that beginning part, I went and ate breakfast, and what do you know? They've released the update out on mobile too, so hey, everyone can try it now. Also, a bunch of other YouTubers have put out some videos I need to watch. Dude, Infected Players already put up a, what's the name of the pet? The one that gives Silly, the kangaroo. Tree Kangaroo. He's already done a video with Double Parrot Tree Kangaroo that I gotta go watch. That seems super fun. But yeah, let's get into the Danger Pack. Now, once again, reminder, I'm doing the Danger Pack giveaway. Make sure you enter in the comments below. I'll draw that in a video in 2 days' time. But yeah, if you're interested in that, and there's also an additional 5 coming from Traxion, so 10 people can win a Danger Pack. In addition, a lot of other creators are doing pack giveaways. I know, I think Broken Bridge said he's doing one. If you join Haps's Discord, on Haps's Discord in the hashtag SAP Challenge channel, Grounded Sap is giving away a few packs, as well as I think Not a Game Devlogs throwing in as well. where all you have to do is basically what I did, where you comment below your favorite pet and all that kind of stuff. So if you want another chance of winning the Danger Pack, join Haps's Discord and enter the Sap Challenge channel and follow the instructions there. Check out Broken Bench. If there's anyone else that also has a giveaway, I'll make sure to put them in the description if it's out by the time this video comes out. But yeah, enter my giveaway for the Danger Pack. But let's get into it and finally try it out. Here we go. The Danger Pack, it's here. Look at all these new pets to try. It could be very interesting. Now, right away, let me go into my settings and turn down the fast forward factor. So we're gonna go ahead and pick up a couple of these transform synergies right off the bat, because that'll be pretty good. Also know its highest stat. I wonder how that'll work when it's a 2-2. Maybe it'll just make it a 4-2 or a 2-4. We'll find out. We'll be the Dancing Underdogs. First time in the Danger Pack. Here we go. I've got it on same pack, so it'll be interesting. Now we'll keep it on slow just while we're learning. Oh my gosh, that was probably the best transformation I could have gotten. A 4-4. Yeah, you get 1 damage reduction. I don't care. That's amazing, dude. Getting the Moth turn 1 with the HP buff of the Ilipika, like, that's amazing. That's awesome. All right, well, now we just look for more. I think I'll just look for more Iriomote cats. If I can find any. Nope. We'll just buy something else that can be decent. Maybe we'll grab this. It's a 2-3. Can help with the 2-2s in the back. Oh, they got 4-3 at the front. And then jump attack. So it's a beetle, gets the honey. It gets jump attacked, so you can see I attack it back whenever it jump attacks. It's basically just happening out of order. Nice trade here for me. Unfortunately, I guess I'll not have a good trade here. Well, I guess it'll be all right because of the, trade right there. I think we're going to lose this one. They just got better stats than me, and they removed my attack. Yeah, that's all right. We got the win first round, so this one ain't that bad. Going to get the level up too. What do we got? We got Wolf, Melee Tapir, before attack. That's like the mini boar kind of thing. Let's see if we get more transform pets here. We get start of battle, jump attack, and then we've got 5 enemy attacks. Interesting. I might take the Pygmy Hippo for now, and then take this guy as well, because that could give me multiple attacks, you know? That could be very nice. And see if we can find our transform thing. There we go. I'll take you, right? What do you do? You're Scalar, but you are a transform pet that also gives me gold. That works great with Ilipika as well. Very cool thing there. Darwin's Fox is a jump pet. Maybe I could do Gross Michelle. I don't know if I need to, though. We'll rock with this squad. Okay, we face an opposing kind of... They got a mix of things here. It transformed into a desert rain frog. Interesting. I guess it's any pet, you know, so like I could transform into the ferret even though it doesn't do anything for me in battle. Ooh, nice. Give me that HP. Ooh, both of our hippos are going to be triggering here. Oh, not the attack reduction. That helps their guys so much. Okay. Oh, I really want you to snipe the other one. Yeah, I think I'm going to lose this one. All the attack reduction helps them get a lot of enemy attacks there. That's alright. Pick another one of you. Meat bone. Probably not going to win my first run. That's usually how it goes. I guess we'll go for the level 2 U. Why not? We got some transform stuff going on. Yeah, we'll call that good. Do I like this ordering? Sure. We'll keep it like this. Okay, what is that? That's the Scalar. They got to transform and then also transforming. Let's start of turn transform though. Start a battle, transform 2 friends ahead into any useful hurt pets. This guy's going to transform twice. So that's interesting. That'll work with the Ilipika. Transforms to the Moth. Does the Moth trigger? Does. And then they transform to hurt pets and get health. Ooh, that's scary. Yeah, that's really not good for me. I don't think I'm going to win this one. Is that trying to knock me out here? No. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to lose this one. Oh, well. It's alright. Ooh, almost got a trade there. And enemy attacks. Does it count there? Oh, it doesn't count when it faints. Okay, that's fair. Does count on itself though when an enemy attacks the pygmy hippo. We get adjacent friend attack, deal damage, or 5 enemy attacks gain health. Let's take the double level up. Before battle, in turn give their highest stats. I think we move on from our transform stuff and keep going with this attack thing, enemy attacks. And then this will just give us some extra stats. And then gold's always nice. I'll probably replace you next. How do I want to do this? 5 enemy attacks for both of these. This one will probably live longer, so I think that's fair. So before battle, it gives them the stats start a battle. Does it get removed after start a battle or what? Okay, so it's only during the start of battle phase. That's how it works. Okay. Good to know. Man, their little mini kangaroo there's putting in work. And this isn't going to trigger on faint, but this will still trigger. Whoa, look at that. I'm actually gonna... Oh, I'm not gonna draw. That was really close, though. That's really cool. Very interesting use of the ability. Transform, jump attack, friend transform. Not really doing the transform thing anymore. I kind of want summons. Is kind of what I'm going for. Just more stats. I'll take an early level, because I'm low on HP right now. Sure. We'll take you. Why not? Start a battle. Now let's take a perk while we're at it. Okay, cucumber, sure. You scale with HP. Wish it told you at the bottom like what your percentage of health is, like other percentage-based people. I could have used the talkie before, but oh well. And we'll stick with this ordering. Probably not going to be a very good first game, but that's okay. Ooh, we got a lot of transform stuff here, and the enemy attacks with the Humphead Brass. Nice. So the opposing Rasp removed my temporary attack instead of my actual attacks. That's pretty cool. Rhythm Dealer's playing Bellotro. Yo, shoutouts to Loser Juice. You guys can't see it. My brother's playing Bellotro again. It's like number 4. Let's go. They kind of counteract mine, but my guys were alive and yours were dead. Ooh, Giant Tortoise would be great with this build. Hold up. Let's get rid of you. You know what? Screw it. Going big. Transform to any start of battle pack. It could be fun. More tortoise? Yes, please. I don't want to order this. Let's do it like that. Maybe your high attack can help me knock out a pet at the beginning. Ooh, giant tortoise versus giant tortoise. You're gonna get that attack scaling, but now you're gonna attack me. Ah. Like a mini snake now, think about it, kind of. This guy's barely done anything to me, for me, I swear. Ooh, removing that HP is really nice. Of course, they're gonna get another summon, though. Dang, I'm gonna lose because of that. I might have lost anyway. 1 HP. What can we do? We just go all in on these guys. Let's take you. Grapes? I mean, I guess I'll take a grapes. Why not? And what do I have here? Friend ahead hurt. Ooh. That could be really nice with my current squad. It's got low stats, but you know, it's still pretty nice. Friend jumps are transformed. That's the guy I really like. Start a battle, jump attack the highest attack enemy. Ooh, so this will trigger and then they jump attack. That's pretty interesting. That's a cool use of it. Ow, hurt my giant tortoise. You get HP because of that. Ow. Oh, this guy's actually pretty darn good with this guy. Okay. Get the snipes and the HP reduction. I kind of wish you went first so they'd reduce HP and then take the snipes. But that's okay. I think I'll win this one. Yep. Okay, we're still in there. We're still in there. And the extra gold. Ooh. Let's go ahead and level you up. Why not? I could have leveled Tortoise, but Start a battle, transform, and friend transformed. Let's get rid of you. Let's buy you and see if we get something fun. You good for friendly attacks. And then, but transform into faint pets, which will help that guy, but then these guys don't get to do as much. Oh, but let's go with the giant tortoise at least. I already have an orca. So I could transform the tortoise into something with an ability, but I kind of like this one's ability. I could do the orca behind it. Let's do that. Turn the orca into something else, but this way I still get this synergy, except this thing will have an ability in battle, so I'm fine with that. Wait, you could use Cocoa Bean with the Condor thing or whatever it was. That's pretty cool. Okay, I could do some snipe damage. Okay, get Walrus and Saber. Ooh, I love having Sabretooth here. That's gonna be great. Okay, they got their little synergy going on here. Yo, hit like that guy or something. Nice. This guy's got big attack, which is kind of scary for me. Yeah, he's gonna one-shot my Sabretooth now. Okay, we snipe some of the back people. Don't really care about the Toasty, but we get some mammoth scaling at least. 3. Okay, 4. And then you're gonna live and snipe the last enemy. Oh, only 2 damage? Oh, but we still win. Jeez, I did not think I was gonna win. Oh wait, no, they had the fish. Gosh darn it. Really thought I was gonna win that one. We'll level 2 you. Summon any start of battle. 5 enemy attacks gain melon. Okay, I want that one. I want the melon one. Plus 5 to the lowest stat. Sure. Okay. Do I like this order? Sure, we'll rock it like this. Maybe my orca will give me something useful for my giant tortoise. I don't know. And now we got more attack on the giant tortoise. Okay, what do they got? Remove attack, give stats. You're like the sheep, and then tortoise and pygmy as well. I'll take the trumpets. Ooh, I'm gonna get the melon here right before. Oh, they're gonna trigger before my melons though, because they have higher attack, right? Yeah, so not gonna get on the giant tortoise, but I'm getting on the other people. And then I snipe. Kind of a waste of a melon there, but that's okay. So it gets level 2 at level 2, kind of like sheep. Okay, level 2 Ethiopian wolves. But I've got melons. Yeah. Okay, we're still living. We are still living. Let's see what else we can find. I like leveling up you for the better melons. Let's see, your transformations, you give stats. Ooh, do I do Black Rhino instead of Pygmy? A lot of snipe damage. If I can pull it off. Let's try it. We'll try our new tier 6. I'll freeze you. Just give me some scaling. I don't really have scaling besides the tortoise right now, so might be worth it. Also might want to get some okras or something on the back, guys. Or what do they got? They got faint, some of the start of battle. They got the silly. Uh-oh. So this silly, it's going to randomly deal 30 damage to 2 pets, my team or enemy team. We hit the enemy, and we hit my guy. You know what? That's fair. We hit each other, or I hit both of them. Okay, cool. Goblin Shark doesn't activate because my HP is too high. And now I get melons. And then this is going to trigger. I guess it won't get time to trigger. Well, there's Freeze. Shoutouts to Freeze. Freeze the innovator. The legend. Do I switch out? I might throw in this because I need some scaling over the orca. And then just look for some good perks. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and melon. Oh, I can't afford any of these. Never mind. I think I'll stake in the front, melon in the back, just to make sure they live. You might need some protection because your HP is so low. Of course, it doesn't synergize with the giant tortoise because it's gonna always sit its attack. Oh my gosh. Double turtle tortoise with the tomato and the melon, the level 3 pygmy. I might be screwed here, dude. At least mine have higher attack, so I'll get the snipe damage before they get melons. So I get melons. They snipe. They get melons. Oh, this is 8 attacks, right? One more. Snipe. I don't know if I'm going to have enough, dude. Yeah, I'm going to lose this. All right. Well, that was a lot of fun. Did some interesting stuff with the friend and enemy attacks. Looking forward to trying out this pack some more, and I'll have some more cool runs for y'all in the upcoming days. Once again, make sure you enter the giveaway. You just got to be subscribed to the channel and just comment below your favorite pet from the Danger Pack as well as your in-game name, and I will announce those winners in a video 2 days from now. That's going to be it from me. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all the generic stuff. I'll catch you guys in the next video, but until then, as always, stay true.